So, good day everyone. Good day, ma'am. My name is Jafra Alang, and together with my partner, Albert John Barrios, we're going to report about the marketing structure. Marketing structure. So, here is the key terms of this topic, which is the cartel, collusion, duopoly, imperfect market, market, monopolistic competition, monopoly, monopsony, oligopoly rather. This is oligopoly. And perfect competition, market competition, and the perfect market. So before that, we all know that market is a marketplace where buyers and sellers exchanging goods and services with the following consideration. First is the type of the goods and services being traded. Second is the number and size of buyers and sellers in the market. And third is the degree to which information can flow freely. So what is market structure? This refers to how different industries are classified and differentiated based on their degree and nature of competitions for goods and services. It is based on the characteristics that influence the behavior and outcomes of companies working in a specific market. So there are two types of market structure. This is referred to how different industries are classified in the. First is, these are the types of market structure. First is the perfect or pure market. This one is a market situation which consists of a very large number of buyers and sellers offering a homogeneous product. Under such condition, no firm can affect the market price. Price determined through the market demand and supply of the particular products, since no single buyers and sellers has no real control over the price. So, perfect competition can be found in the real world. For such to exist, the following condition must be observed and required. First is a large number of sellers, each acting independently and not colliding of any other. Second is selling a homogeneous product, that is, output of one firm is indistinguished from the output of any other firm in the industry. The buyer is not concerned with where he or she purchased. This is ensured by the requirement that all services associated with the purchase, such as delivery condition, credit terms, are absolutely the same for every seller. Third is no artificial restriction placed upon price quantity of the output prevent a pure situation. Pure competition cannot exist under government price setting or producers' price quantity setting results from agreement among competitors. Fourth is easy enter and exist. Sellers are free to enter and leave a purely competitive industry. A firm be able to sell its product as easily as long-established firm can. There are no legal barriers, financial and technical requirements. Fifth, all buyers and sellers have perfect knowledge of market conditions and any changes that was in the market. So sixth, the firm are price takers. They have no control on the price of the product. The thing they can decide is the level of output they produce. So, short-run analysis of perfect competition. The principal aim of a firm is to maximize Profits. In the short run, some inputs are variable and therefore fixed costs arise regardless whether the firm is operating or not. Thus, it pays for the firm to continue operating even though losses are incurred in the short run as long as these losses are smaller than the fixed cost. So, the illustration or the figure 8 shows short-run equilibrium under a perfect competition market. Panel B on the right, represent the industry and demand and supply curve. The market price is 10 pesos and industry output is 1 million units. Let us assume that there are 1,000 firms in the market. And the panel A shows the cost situation of each firm in the market. We can notice that the demand curve is horizontal at 10 pesos, which is also the market price. Each firm's supply curve begins at point C, after the point of intersection between MC, the MC, and AVC, where each of the identical firm products product 800 units each. Since there are 1,000 identical firms in the market, there will be 800,000 units of total output seen in panel B. The output that maximizes profit for an individual firm is at point B, where MR is equal to MC, wherein the maximizing units of output is 1,000 at the price of 10 pesos. Next, perfect competition is built on two critical consumptions: the behavior of an individual firm and the nature of the industry in which it operates. The firm is assumed to be a price taker, assumed to be able to alter its rate of production and sales within any feasible range, without such as having a significant effect on the price of the product itself. The firm operating in a perfect competitive product has no power to influence the market through its own individual action. So next is the long run analysis of perfect competition. In the long run, all inputs and cost of production are variable, and the firm can build the most appropriate scale of plant to produce optimum level of output. So this, in the figure 8.1, point A is the most appropriate level of output. At this point, price is equal to the long run marginal cost, or the LMC, of the firm. It is also at this point that the optimum scale of the plant, represented by the tangency of the short run average total cost, SATC, to the long run average cost, LAC, of the firm, gives the best level of output. If firms that are already operating in the market earn profits, others will try to enter the market. That will result to a greater market supply of a product and lowering the price. So next, this is another type of market structure, which is the imperfect market. Imperfect market is a market situation wherein the conditions necessary for perfect competition are not satisfied. Under this situation, there are few sellers which are enough affect the market. Imperfect competition only happens when the firm become relatively larger in the connection in the market size. The essential and distinguishing features of this type is the power the individual firm has determined price by adjusting its sales. Without having a complete power of monopolist, in order to analyze the imperfect competition, we have to look into the different kind of imperfect market and its power. So there are forms of imperfect market. First is the monopoly. The term monopoly comes from the Greek word monos, which means one, and polein, which means to sell, which means under this situation there is only one seller of goods or services. Monopoly is characterized only one producer in the industry. Hence, there is a lack of economic competition and we will substitute the goods and services that they provide. The monopolist can influence and has a considerable control of a price. So monopolist is considered as a price maker, and monopoly should be distinguished from cartel. Cartel refer to a market situation in which firms agree to cooperate with one another to behave as if they were single firm and thus eliminate competition behavior among them. So there is this classification of monopoly. First is monopolies. Monopolies are classified according to circumstances they arise from. That is cost, structure of the industry, possible the result of law or by the means. And second is the natural monopoly, a market situation where a single firm can supply the entire market due to fundamental cost structure of the industry. And third, legal monopoly. Legal monopoly is sometimes called as a de jure monopoly or de jure, or I don't know how to pronounce that. A form of monopoly which is government grants to a private individual or firm over the product or service. And the coercive monopoly, form of monopoly whose existence as the sole producer and distributor of goods and services is by means of coercion, legal or illegal, so that most of the time it violates principles of free market just to avoid competition. Short-run analysis of monopoly. There is a sharp distinction between perfect and monopoly in terms of price and output determination. A monopolist is considered as a price maker, since he or she is the sole seller of a product that has no close substitute in the market. Because of this, a monopolist faces the entire demand curve for the product, meaning if he wants to increase the price of the product, he will reduce the supply, and to lower the price, he will increase the supply. The effect of this is the marginal revenue will always be lower than the price of the product. Graphically, the marginal revenue curve is below the demand curve. So, in the figure 8.2, the best level of output in the short run is 1,000 units given by the point A, where MR is equal to MC. If output is below 1,000 units, where MR is less than MC, it will pay for the firm to expand output because additional product will increase total profit. On the other hand, if output is produced above 1,000 units where MC is greater than MR, total profit will increase for the firm reduces to its output. Although a monopolist can earn profits in the short run, it does not mean that he is incapable of incurring losses or to even the height of the average total cost tell us the best level of output. If the ATCP is equal to P at the best level of output, the firm breaks even. If ATCP is greater than P at the best level of output, the firm is incurs losses. So next is the long-run analysis of monopoly. In the long run, all inputs and costs are variable, and the monopolist can make his scale of plan to make the best level of output. In the figure 8.3 rather, the best level of output is given at point A, where Q is equal to 1,500 and price is equal to 10 pesos. Notice that this point P is equal to LMC, and the optimal scale of plant is given by the condition where short run average cost SATC is equal to LAC. In the long run, the monopolist is earning a profit equal to 2 pesos per unit as long as all factors monopolists will earn the same amount per unit on the long run. So next is the oligopoly. Oligopoly, the word comes from the Greek word oligo, which means few, and polyen, which means to sell. It is all market situation in which there is a small number of sellers, each aware of the actions of the others. In oligopoly, conjectural interdependence is present. That is, a decision of one firm influences and are influenced by the decision of the others in the market. Automobile and steel industries are example of oligopoly. The characteristic of an oligopoly includes there is a small number of firms in the market selling differentiated or identical products. Second is the firm has no control over price because of the small number of firms providing the entire supply of a certain product. And next is there is an extreme difficulty for new competitors to enter the market. So next is the type of oligopoly. Type of oligopoly are oligopolies are often distinguished based on the products they sell in the market. Pure oligopoly. So these are the types of oligopoly: pure oligopoly, differentiated oligopoly, and duopoly. Pure oligopoly is a type of oligopoly. It's common in a market situation where the products sold are fairly homogeneous. Example they sell are cement, sugar, raw materials. The next is the differentiated oligopoly. That is value characteristics or qualities of goods vary. Example are digital telecommunication, digital, globe, and smart. Airlines and shipping industries because of the characteristic of their service. Duopoly, a type of oligopoly market, is seen in the television and radio industries in which both operate in the same locality, although technically they are one company. Next is the type of organization of oligopoly. Yes, oligopoly. Cartel is a formal agreement among oligopolies to set up a monopoly price, allocate output, and share profit among members. A good example of these types of oligopoly is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. This is an intergovernmental organization of 12 developing countries, and its main objective is to coordinate and unify petroleum policies among members countries to secure fair and stable price for petroleum producers. an efficient economic and regular supply of petroleum to consuming nations, and a fair return on a capital to those investing in the industry. Another type is the collusion. It is a formal or an informal agreement among oligopolists to adopt policies that will restrict or reduce the level of competition in the market. This usually happens in the bidding process for development work in the several regions of the country. So next is the analyzing oligopoly using King's demand curve. So King's demand curve is defined as the demand curve of the individual firm in the oligopolistic market. The king is the demand curve at the price is caused by the expectation of the firm and the action that its competitor may take if the firm will change its price. Consider figure 8.4 at the existence price of 45 pesos. The oligopoly is selling 300 units of output. If the firm will reduce price below its competitors will match its price reduction, so sales will increase slightly. These expectations are represented by the band kink in the firm's demand curve at the prevailing price. Another conspicuous property of the kink demand curve is a discontinuous portion or a gap in the marginal revenue MR curve. The marginal cost or MC curve passes through this gap in the MR curve. Because of this, the firm would not change in its level even if there are substantial change in the marginal cost or the demand itself. Monopolistic competition. So, monopolistic competition, this is the market situation in which there are many sellers producing highly differentiated products. Under the condition, there is competition because many sellers offer products that are close but not perfect, substitute for each other. Monopolistic competition has similar characteristics with perfect competition, but in addition, product differentiation. Product differentiation creates some degree of market power to monopolistic competition, since each competitor can somewhat raise price without losing all its customers. Industries producing personal care products, cars, apparel, furniture, medicine, and the like are good examples of monopolistic competition. Essential characteristic of monopolistic competition are a large number of buyers and sellers in the given market act independently. There is a limited control of price because of product differentiation. Sellers are offer differentiated or similar products but not identical products. New firms can enter the market easily. However, there is a greater competition in the sense that new firms have to offer better features of their products. And fifth, the competition in the market focuses not only on the price but also on the product variation and promotion. So, this is the short-run analysis of monopolistic competition. Figure 8 shows that the best level of output for monopolistically competitive firms is given by the point cost MR is equal to NC at 50 units of output. Notice how the demand curve in the type of market is more elastic due to product differentiation. If the product is less than 50 units, MR is greater than MC and be increased if output expanded, while is output is above 50 units where MR is less than MC. Profits are increased by reducing output, and monopolistically competitive firms can also incur losses or break even depending on its average total cost. So next is the long-term analysis of monopolistic competition. If operating under a monopolistic competition market is quite profitable in the short run, competition will intensify in the long run. This will result to a decrease in the market shares of each firm in the market or demand firm is producing on the downward portion of long-term or the LAC as illustrated in the figure 8.6. Each firm should produce 220 units with a price of 10 pesos at point A, at which MR is equal to LMC is equal to SMC. If a firm will divert with this price, it will incur losses and will not break even because of a more intensive competition in the long run. So, monopsony. A monopsony is a market situation where there is only one buyer of goods and services in the market. It is sometimes considered analogous to monopoly, in which there is only one seller of goods and services in the market. Since there is only one buyer, this market has the control of supply, and it can reduce the number of input demanded in order to decrease the price of that particular input. Monopsony gives the firm the ability to control its unit cost for an input, which is similar to the way the monopoly controls its price. So that's it. The highlight of the topic is market structure is concerned with the type of market in which firm operates. It affects the extent of power that a firm has to impact the price of the product. The criteria used in determining the market structure includes type of goods and services being traded, the number and size of buyers and sellers in the market, and the degree to which information can flow freely. The two major types of market structure are perfect or pure market and imperfect market. There are two critical assumptions of theory of perfect competition. The firm are price taker, and the industry display freedom of entry and exist. A firm is a price taker will adjust to different market conditions by varying its input. Form of imperfect market identified where monopoly, single sellers and goods and services, oligopoly, few number of sellers, each aware of the actions of the other firms. Monopolistic competition, production of many firms with somewhat different products. Monopsony, where there is only one buyer in the market who has the control of its supplies. And oligopoly, there is a small number of buyers competing to obtain the factor of production. And that is the end. Thank you.